Okay. Nope. Okay, is that you, Mr. Wilson, all connected to Zoom?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. This is People of the State of Michigan versus Willie Wilson, docket number 21-249FH. And Mr. Wilson, are you employed right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Where at?
Fast Eddie's in West Saginaw and Lansing.
Okay, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson, you have the right to be represented by an attorney. You are represented by Mr. Petrovich. And Mr. Petrovich, this is a plea then to count 2, I assume?
Yes, Your Honor.
Will you waive reading of count 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Allen, would you read count 2, please?
In the People of the State of Michigan versus Willie James Wilson, file 21-249-FH, State of Michigan, County of Ingham. In the name of the people of the State of Michigan, the prosecuting attorney for this county appears before the court and informs the court that on or about August 2020 at 735 East Hazel Street, City of Lansing, Ingham County, the defendant did in count 2 commit the offense of improper possession of a firearm in or upon a motor vehicle. That he did transport in or upon a motor vehicle or other self-propelled vehicle designed for land travel an unloaded firearm which was not a pistol or revolver, to wit, a firearm, while said firearm was not taken down, enclosed in a case, carried in the trunk, or otherwise inaccessible from the interior of the vehicle, contrary to Michigan law. This is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 90 days and or $100, mandatory forfeiture of weapon or device, and was committed against the peace and dignity of the state of Michigan.
Mr. Wilson, you're being charged here with improper transportation of a firearm in a vehicle. That is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 90 days in jail. Have you had enough time to talk about this charge with your lawyer?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand the charge against you?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions about what we're doing?
No. No, ma'am.
How do you want to plead?
Guilty?
If your plea of guilty is accepted by this court, it means you won't have a trial of any kind, and you'll be giving up the rights that go along with a trial. I have to go through those with you. It means you'll be giving up the right to a trial by jury, or if you didn't want trial by jury, trial by judge. You'll give up your right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty and to require the prosecutor to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You'll give up your right to have the witnesses against you appear at the trial and to be able to cross-examine them, and also your right to have this court order any witnesses that you might have to appear at the trial. You'll give up your right to remain silent at the trial and not to have your silence used against you, or in the alternative, your right to testify at the trial if you wanted to. Also, there are some things about appeals that are different when you plead guilty. One is if you plead guilty, you don't get an automatic right to appeal your case to the higher court. Instead, you have to ask them to hear it and they would have to agree. And the other way is that if someone goes to trial and they get convicted, they can appeal everything. When you plead guilty, there are many issues that you simply cannot appeal. Do you understand those rights, Mr. Wilson?
Yes, ma'am.
And also, if I accept your plea, it means you can't come back later on and try to say that the plea was the result of some promise or threat that no one told me about today. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And it also means you will not be able to come back later on and try to say that it really wasn't your own choice to plead guilty today. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a plea agreement, Ms. Allen?
There is, Your Honor. In exchange for the defendant's plea of guilty to the added count 2, the people agreed to dismiss count 1.
Is that a full and complete statement, Mr. Petrovich?
It is, Your Honor.
And Mr. Wilson, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you agree with it? Do you agree with it?
Yes, ma'am. I don't know. I guess I couldn't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. You couldn't hear me? Is that what you said?
Um, can you hear me?
Yes, now I can. We lost you for a second. Now you're back. So you agree with this agreement here that you plead to the 90-day misdemeanor and they dismiss the felony, right? And he froze. Give it a minute here.
Can you hear me?
Now we can. You froze up for a minute there, Mr. Wilson.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's not your fault. It's the technology. So you agree with this agreement that you plead to the 90-day misdemeanor and they're going to dismiss the felony. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, right now, I don't know what your sentence will be on this misdemeanor, and I haven't made any deals with anyone about your sentence. Are you clear on that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Has anyone promised you anything else in order to get you to plead guilty that hasn't been said here right now?
No, ma'am.
Has anyone used any threats to get you to do it?
No, ma'am.
Is this your own choice?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you pleading guilty because you believe you are in fact guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's talk about August 3rd then of last year, 2020, and tell me what you did that would make you guilty. Mm,
My apologies. Me now?
That's all right. You must have an unstable internet connection because you froze up again. That's okay. Tell me what you did on August 3rd of 2020 that would make you guilty then of this offense.
I got down to Hazel Street in my car and it broke down. So I had my girlfriend in the car with me. Um, I got the gun out the trunk and put it in the cabin while I went up to get my truck to come down and jump my car.
Okay, so you had the gun in the interior part of the car, correct?
Yeah,
And it wasn't, and you knew that it was there
yes,
and you put it there.
yes,
Was it a pistol?
yes,
Okay, and this was at 7 or in the area of 735 East Hazel Street in Lansing, Ingham County, is that correct?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, has the court complied with MCR 6.302, Mr. Petrovich?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Allen,
Yes, Your Honor.
are you aware of any promises, threats, or inducements other than those already placed on the record, Mr. Petrovich?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Allen?
No, Your Honor.
The court finds the plea is understandingly and voluntarily made without undue influence, threats, or promises of leniency. It is an accurate plea supported by the testimony with a factual basis that supports count 1, but I will accept it as a plea to count 2, the 90-day misdemeanor, and the plea is accepted. Sentencing date is Monday, June 21st. At 4:30, if that works for you, Mr. Petrovich.
It does, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Wilson, do you think that you're okay with doing the sentencing on Zoom as well?
Yes,
Okay, that's good. I need your consent to do a sentencing by Zoom. I don't need it for pleas, but we'll plan on Zoom then. And that will be on June 21st at 4:30. Mr. Wilson, if you would please just give a call to the Adult Probation Department and tell them that you need to set up an interview. They do have to set up an interview with you in order to do the pre-sentence report that I use for sentencing. So if you would do that in the next day or two, and then your bond is continued. And do you have any questions for me, Mr. Wilson, before we go?
no, ma'am.
Okay, you're all set then. That'll conclude our hearing.